9, 8, 7, 6, 5.
Hello and welcome to LTCC News. I'm Elizabeth Nafee.
And I'm Kendall Burke. Thank you for joining us. Today we will be covering everything from a possible medical marijuana plant in the Hudson Valley to the conviction of Aaron Hernandez. But first, let's take a look into the 2016 presidential candidacy. Democrat Hillary Clinton has made the worst-kept secret official as she announced Sunday that she is running for president. In a 2-minute video, Clinton kicked off her presidential bid as the first Democratic candidate to enter the race. She made her first campaign stop at a community college in Iowa, where she said she wants to be a champion for struggling Americans. She joins Republican Senators Ted Cruz, Rand Paul, and Marco Rubio.
Florida Senator Marco Rubio described himself as the best presidential candidate to move the country forward. In a speech at Miami's Freedom Tower, the Florida senator announced his 2016 presidential run.
That is why tonight, grounded by the lessons of our history, but inspired by the promise of our future, I announce my candidacy for President of the United States.
So far, the 43-year-old is the youngest candidate in the race.
President Barack Obama has taken another step in amending relations with Cuba. Reporter Max Stolf has more on the story.
That is why tonight,
within the past week, unmistakable evidence has established the fact that a series of offensive missile sites is now in preparation.
JFK spoke earnestly on the threat of a Cuban missile attack on the United States, and growing tension between the U.S. and the Soviet Union led to a trade embargo against Cuba that has continued for over 50 years, until this year.
We will end an outdated approach that for decades has failed to advance our interests, and instead, we will begin to normalize relations between our two countries.
At the Summit of the Americas this past week, President Obama set new precedent when he lifted the trade embargo on Cuba and endorsed removing Cuba from the U.S. terrorism list.
Whether or not a country should be on the state's...
The future of U.S.-Cuban relations has yet to be fully ironed out, but the landmark first step is lifting the final veil on the 50-year-old Iron Curtain.
Thank you, Max. This week, further information has been released regarding the Walter Scott case. A recording from a second cop car which was obtained, which shows then Officer Michael Slager laughing about how his adrenaline was pumping.
It's okay, okay? I just shot somebody. Grab my taser, yes. I will do
50-year-old Scott was shot 8 times in the back after running from a traffic stop where he was pulled over for a broken taillight. Video recordings also show Slager speaking with a senior officer.
They waited a couple days to interview, official interview, like sit down and say what happened. Well, probably when you get home, probably a good idea to kind of jot down your thoughts or what happened. Okay.
Slager is being charged with murder in the first degree.
Police arrested a man who steered his tiny aircraft onto the west lawn of the U.S. Capitol building after flying through restricted airspace around the National Mall Wednesday. The Tampa Bay Times alerted the Capitol Police and Secret Service of a man's plan about 30 minutes before the plane actually landed. The man had reached out to a reporter earlier this year about his plans to fly his helicopter on the Capitol grounds in order to raise awareness about the need for campaign and finance reform.
Tuesday marked the 150th anniversary of the assassination of President Abraham Lincoln. Lincoln was shot by John Wilkes Booth at Ford's Theater in Washington, D.C. The assassination occurred less than 1 week after the end of the Civil War and is considered by some as the crime of the 19th century. He became the first of 4 U.S. presidents to be assassinated. To commemorate the anniversary, Ford's Theater hosted round-the-clock events on Tuesday and Wednesday, and President Obama declared Wednesday a day of remembrance.
And Patriots fans, you might want to stay away. The verdict for the Aaron Hernandez trial is coming up after the break.
Really, Ray comes on.
Jody Arias,
I really.
name is package 8, 7, 6.
Am I camera 2?
We're going back here.
4,
Okay.
3, 2.
Welcome back. The 2.5-year-long Jodi Arias trial has come to a close. Reporter Catherine Fiorillo has more on the story.
On Monday, Jodi Arias, accused of murder in 2008, was convicted of the murder of Travis Alexander, sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole.
For count 1, it is the judgment of the court that the defendant, Jodi Ann Arias, is guilty of the crime of first-degree murder.
Prosecutors claim Arias shot Alexander and stabbed him 30 times after he tried to end their relationship. Last month, the jury deadlocked on whether or not to give Arias the death penalty. 2 different juries could not reach a unanimous decision, and, after removing the option, Judge Sherry Stevens decided 34-year-old Arias would not be eligible for parole after 25 years behind bars.
It is ordered. The defendant shall be incarcerated in the Department of Corrections for the rest of her natural life with no possibility of parole.
After murdering Alexander in his Arizona home, Arias drove to Utah, and Alexander's body was not found for 5 days. Arias was arrested nearly a month after the murder, in which time she attended the memorial service for Alexander. For LTCC News, I'm Catherine Fiorillo.
Kenneth Morgan Stansel III confessed in court Tuesday to killing Ron Lane, a college print shop manager at Wayne Community College in Greensboro, North Carolina. Stansel's supervisor at the shop dismissed him in the beginning of March for having too many absences. During Stansel's confession, he stated that he got rid of one more child molester from this earth. Investigators are still trying to uncover the motive for the murder. Classes at the college resumed, but with extra security.
The longest criminal trial in Georgia's history came to a close on Tuesday. The case included over 30 Atlanta public school teachers involved in a test cheating scandal. After over 5 months of deliberation, Judge Jerry Baxter allowed prosecutors to offer the defendants plea deals. While some educators were quick to accept the offers, others refused to plead guilty. Baxter's sentences range from a week in prison to up to 20 years behind bars.
Now we go to Caitlin LaFaro for the latest opinions on New York State's Common Core examinations.
Since its institution, the New York State Common Core has been a controversial topic. Today, parents are left with the question, should I let my child take the test or opt them out?
State assessments don't begin for students until 3rd grade. However, the Common Core standards are instituted in students as young as kindergartners.
For ELA and for math. The core is developed and there are units of study, and within each of those units there are objectives, but the most important part is meeting the learning standards within the unit. There are standards for writing, there are standards for reading, there are standards for speaking.
Indiana has recently become the first state to ditch the Common Core standards. Several Hudson Valley parents hope New York will follow in Indiana's footsteps. However, there are many parents in New York who believe a test is just a test.
Throughout life, you're going to have to take tests that you don't want to take. And if we start telling them now that they have a choice to take them or not take them, they're going to start thinking that they can do that.
Put the bags you have in the basket on top of the board. Put your board in. Board first.
The tests in themselves are really, as far as I understand, are just data gathering devices and not really useful as teaching tools.
Students of parents who didn't opt them out are sharpening their number 2 pencils and beginning to take the tests this week.
For LTCC, Caitlin LaFaro.
An Ohio mother has been charged with child endangerment after she dropped her son into a cheetah exhibit at the Cleveland Metro Park Zoo. Michelle Schwab will be arraigned on April 22nd for child endangerment, a misdemeanor. Multiple eyewitnesses say they saw Schwab dangling her son over the rail before he ultimately fell into the exhibit. Thankfully, the cheetahs made no attempt to interact with either the 2-year-old boy or the parents when they went in to save him. Although the zoo's exhibit remains open, the viewing deck is temporarily closed as the incident continues to be investigated.
Is this beautiful weather here to stay? Well, coming up after the break, Stephen Baring has our weather update when we return. Stay tuned.
Great job, guys. Great job.
No.
When the OTS goes down, they're still talking. Should I reframe her?
If you can do it smoothly.
John, could you move that like? All right, want me to go right now? Thanks, Liz. With spring in full swing, things have finally thawed out, and we've had some great weather on our hands. Today shouldn't be an exception, with temperatures reaching up to 64 degrees this afternoon with a mostly sunny sky. They say humidity is really what gets to you. No problem here with levels that are cool.
And welcome back to LTCC News. Now we go with the weather. Here's Stephen. Hey, Stephen.
Thanks, Liz. With spring in full swing, things have finally thawed out, and we've had some great weather on our hands. Today shouldn't be any exception, with a temperature reaching up to 64 degrees this afternoon and a mostly sunny sky. Now, they say humidity is what really gets to you. No problem here with levels at a cool 32%. It will get a little bit chilly tonight, dropping into the mid to low 40s. Don't count on seeing any stars either, as it's going to be mostly cloudy. A heat wave is making its way through the South and Midwest, which leads to western New York seeing higher temperatures than here in the tri-state area. As being from Rochester, New York, that's something I'm not used to hearing. Now, the 5-day forecast mostly keeps up to good weather, with some rain sprinkled in. Tomorrow morning could have some showers, but it should clear up by midday. Temperatures are going to climb up to 71 degrees this weekend, with a break from the rain before things cool back down on Monday to go along with a high chance of rain. Now, it's not summer yet, but don't worry too much for the next few days. Ladies, back to you.
Thank you, Stephen. After an ongoing investigation at local pet store Puppies and Kittens, store owner Rick Doyle is now blaming the ASPCA for fostering poor conditions at puppy mills. The ASPCA is campaigning to end pet store sales of puppies from puppy mills who have poor conditions and are a breeding ground for disease. Dutchess Community College student Janine Arnold bought Muffin, a 14-week-old terrier mix from Puppies and Kittens, and has taken out 3 loans and spent almost $10,000 on medical costs. Now that Muffin is on her recovery, Arnold is focusing all her energy on educating the public on the reality of puppy stores.
I tried to spread the word about her, and as much as I could, I put her picture on Facebook. I made flyers that I posted at local pet stores that would allow me to put it up. I basically just tried to spread the word as much as I could and ask everybody I could for help. I don't know.
Doyle has also stated that he has only had issues with 2% of his animals at Puppies and Kittens.
I don't know if I necessarily believe that that's the truth, and he's, I think he's just trying to cover up his own butt.
She also hopes no other puppies in the store who were near Muffin contracted the contagious virus.
I just keep thinking, I really hope this boxer that was in there with her is okay. I went back to see if he was okay again, and I want to go back again soon to make sure that he's getting the proper care he needs.
Although these past few months have been chaotic for Arnold, she is just thankful that Muffin survived the virus and is finally at home with her family.
On Monday, State Attorney General Eric Schneiderman announced that former Domino's Pizza owner Amar Jolly agreed to pay $60,000 for numerous state labor laws. Between 2008 and 2013, Jolly paid for his delivery workers less than required minimum wage and improperly calculated the overtime rate. Jolly was one of the 5 Domino's franchises who agreed to a new round of settlements, which totaled $970,000, all of which will be returned to the workers. Jolly used to own franchises in New York and Pennsylvania, including one on Taft Avenue in Poughkeepsie and one on Route 9 in Wappingers Falls.
The lower Hudson Valley may be part of a $10 million construction project to facilitate the sale of medical marijuana. The company Valley Pharmaceuticals has proposed a marijuana growing facility in the Orange County town of Wallkill. The New York State Health Department is planning to award 5 licenses to organizations that will allow them to grow and sell medical marijuana. Valley Pharmaceuticals is one of the companies seeking this license, and they pledge that their project will generate more than $1 million in tax revenue and fees during the first 3 years. Information has yet to be released on how the health department will choose the 5 production headquarters, but New York State's medical marijuana program says the drug would most likely be available late this year or in early 2016.
And Hopewell Junction's own Joe Panik followed an uneven spring with an equally uneven first week. The second baseman of the San Francisco Giants finished Sunday's loss 1 for 3 with a first inning double and a walk, following an opening hit game, included a double and 2 RBIs. Panik went hitless and with his next 12 at-bats for the 2015 season. The second baseman is hitting .231 and slugging .308. The defending World Series champions clinched this past weekend series against the Diamondbacks and are scheduled to host the Colorado Rockies this week.
The NBA Finals is on the way. When we get back from the break, we'll have your updates on who's on the path to the championship. Stay tuned. Literally, I was like, I should be reading this.
Well, I need to test the mic real quick. Thank you guys. It's been a crazy week in the sporting world, but we start off with some local Mariners news. This Saturday, the Mariners football team will hold its annual spring game at Tenny Stadium.
And then to the side, like, don't bring it over the top, though, because then it goes.
Sports update.
Thank you guys. It's been a crazy week in the sporting world, but we're going to start off with some local Mariners news. This Saturday, the Mariners football's annual spring game will be at Tenny Stadium. All the Pacers had to do was win, and they were in. But the Grizzlies' Marc Gasol's 33 points was too much for the Pacers to handle. This will be the first time in the past 4 years that the Pacers will be out of the playoffs. Now going to the Wild Wild West, the race was between the New Orleans Pelicans and the Oklahoma City Thunder, which also came down to the wire. The table was set. If the Pelicans won their game, they were in. But if they lost, and the
says
Thunder
Boris
won,
Diaw,
Thunder win.
you shall not enter. 108-103.
Man, Russell Westbrook. The Thunder got the job done against the team with the worst record in the league. The Thunder scored 138 points in the routing, and Westbrook attempted to single-handedly lead them into the playoffs, scoring 37 points, 34 of them coming in the first half. Westbrook secured the NBA scoring title, but spoiler alert, he did not secure a playoff spot. That's right, the Pelicans took care of business, beating the defending champions San Antonio Spurs, giving them their first playoff berth since 2011 when they were known as the Hornets. The Unibrow, also known as Anthony Davis, will get a taste of playoff basketball at 22 years old and will match up against the number 1 seeded Golden State Warriors beginning this weekend. That's all I have for you guys today. Sorry about those technical difficulties. We'll be back strong next.
Thank you, John. Former New England Patriots star Aaron Hernandez was convicted of first-degree murder and sentenced to life in prison as of Wednesday morning. He was charged for the murder of Odin Lloyd, whose body was found in a Massachusetts industrial park in June. Lloyd was dating the sister of Hernandez's fiancée at the time. As Hernandez's sentencing was being announced, the athlete who once had a $40 million contract reportedly stood emotionless. The jury deliberated for 7 days before releasing their verdict. Hernandez's mother and fiancé, who were present at the courthouse, wept as they received the news about his sentencing. Hernandez is scheduled to be taken to the Massachusetts Correctional Institution before then being transferred to another facility to serve out his sentence.
The National Basketball Association's 28-year partnership with Coca-Cola has been traded for a new one with Pepsi. The marketing partnership was announced this Monday and will include North America and China. Their new strategy will be led by the beverage Mountain Dew. In a press conference, NBA Commissioner Adam Silver said, quote, "I can't think of a more thrilling and important announcement for this league. Coca-Cola intends on continuing its presence in basketball by forming and keeping relationships with their athletes."
Kim Kardashian and Kanye West had their daughter North baptized in the Holy Land on Monday. After their trip to Armenia, the Wests, along with Kim's sister Khloe Kardashian, went to the Armenian St. James Cathedral in Jerusalem and welcomed their daughter into the Christian faith. Khloe stepped in as North's godmother, and the priest acted as the godfather. A source shared that the day was extremely special for the whole family, but no other details were released.
I can't believe that she would go to Jerusalem to do that.
I don't know. I mean, if you have the money, I think that's a really special experience for their family.
Well, I know, but oh well. And in other news, the piano man, Billy Joel, has announced he's going to be a father again. The 65-year-old singer and his girlfriend, Alexis Roderick, are expecting their first child after dating for 7 years. Joel has been married 3 times previously and has one daughter, 29-year-old Alexa Ray Joel, from his marriage to Christine Brinkley. Joel's representative said that Joel and Roderick have decided to keep any further information on their pregnancy private until the baby's arrival. They're expecting a child in late summer. We're going to take a quick break, but when we come back, the reunion of a lifetime. Stay tuned. We'll have a reunion of a lifetime. Melanie Gilmore was born 50 years ago at Homer G. Phillips Hospital in St. Louis, Missouri. Her mother, Zella Price, was told she died that day. Gilmore, however, was given up for adoption to another family for reasons unknown to her mother. It was not until just recently that Gilmore's children were able to find information on Price and reunite the mother and daughter. Price says that although she is hurt by the years of separation, she could not be, oh, I knew there was a bow saw. Tell the okay, I gotta read up. Oh, Price says that although she is hurt by the years of separation, she could not be more thankful for the second chance of getting to know the daughter she thought she had lost. Gilmore stated that the reunion is something she wanted for a very long time. The two will investigate what happened that day.
On April 9th, 33-year-old David Stark was arrested for impersonating a police officer during a confrontation in a parking lot. Stark, a Highland resident, has been charged with first-degree criminal impersonation. He is currently being held on $20,000 cash bail in Ulster County Jail and is sentenced to return to the town of Lloyd Court this week.
That is a crazy story. But that's all we have for you guys today. I'm Elizabeth Nafee.
And I'm Kendall Burke.
Have a good evening, guys.
Enjoy the weather.